Hey, my name's Stan. I've been taking Invera for the last few weekends of Ashes of Creation Alpha Phase 2. Just wanted to go over some tanking tips and tricks, just because I think that there are a lot of people who are struggling with tanking, and I think that there is a shortage of tanks, and I wanted to just sort of put some tips out there to make it easier if you're struggling with tanking or if you just want to try to get better at tanking in Ashes of Creation. Now, I'm not going to call this a guide or anything because it's alpha. Things are 100% going to change, but figured it would be, I don't know, helpful regardless. Just so you know, I see a lot of people struggling, a lot of people making sort of basic errors, and maybe not understanding how their class works, or maybe they just need a better. Maybe they didn't, don't understand how the skills work together, and so this is here to help sort of shed some light on that topic. So without further ado, let's get into it. So basic things. I'm going to assume a lot of basics. People are familiar with a lot of basics. So things like threat generation, damage mitigation. Being proactive as opposed to reactive. Using mitigation when mechanics are actually coming out and not just randomly. People should be familiar with these things. I'm not going to cover them. If you want me to cover more basics, I can make another video to review that. But I'm going to go over just some more advanced sort of tips and sort of tanking concepts in Ashes of Creation. Starting with Vengeance. Now, Vengeance is a baseline level 1 skill that we get. It does some damage, but the more interesting thing is that you can stack it up to 3 times. And then in addition to that, every time you use it, you also get a small shield. So you can actually maintain at 3 stacks of this buff the entirety of an encounter. So the entirety of a pull session, if you pull 3 mobs, that entire encounter, you can have this at 3 stacks. And having it at 3 stacks gives you a significantly larger shield than if you just let it fall off and then start all over again. So, for example, when you use Vengeance once, you deal some damage, and then you also get a temp health shield equal to your level plus 0.1% of your max HP. Now, if you have 100 courage and no stacks, if you use this 3 times, you're getting, say for simple sake, if you're level 10 and you use this, you're getting 30 plus 0.6% of your max HP. Now, if you have it at 3 stacks and you have 100 courage and you use all 3 of those stacks, you're getting a shield that is 30 plus 0.9% of your max HP. So 0.3% difference there. And over the course of a fight, that can be a significant amount of temporary shielding. Temporary health from shielding. Something to consider while you're using that. Now, obviously, there's also the idea of leaving your courage at 100% if you're fighting physical damage dealers, because courage, the amount of courage you have, scales up to 10% physical damage mitigation. Now, note it's physical only, so if you're dealing with magic dealers, you're not going to want to leave it at 100%. You're going to be wanting spamming Vengeance, you're going to be wanting using it on Fortify, just to mitigate as much magic damage as you can. But having Vengeance at 3 stacks is significantly more impactful than building it up over and over and over again. The next thing I want to go over is courage generation. A lot of tanks I see, they don't really know. It seems like they're not exactly sure how they generate their courage. They just sort of get it sometimes. So I'll see people do 1, 2, 3 moves and then use an ability. Now you're generating your courage, as you can see from the description here. You're generating your courage whenever you do a finisher. So weapon combo finishers and extended finishers generate 33 courage. They also apply stagger, which is important to know. So you're going to want to let your finishers and extended finishers go off. So with a sword, my finisher and extended finisher are on hit 5 and 6. So if we count them, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those last 2 hits are where I'm generating all my courage. So I'll see people go 1, 2, 3, pop a defensive, and that makes you start the combo all over again. So with that, generating that courage gives you 2 things. It gives you a resource to use on abilities, and it also gives you that physical mitigation from having courage. So it's a double whammy if you end up interrupting your combos. If you use Fortify halfway through, you got to start that combo over again. If you use Intimidating Aura a second later, that combo is starting over again. Use Inciting Strikes, that combo starts all over again. Guess what that means? That entire time you were not generating any courage beyond the courage you generated from taking damage. Because in addition to the combo finishers, you get a little bit of courage from taking damage. You don't want to use that as your primary source of courage generation. Your primary source of courage generation should be your combo finishers. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to let those combos finish. I know it takes a little while, right? Sword goes all the way through, hit 5, 6, then you use your abilities, then you use your defensives. unless it's emergency. Of course, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you could potentially die. If you need to interrupt your combo in order to stay alive, interrupt your combo. But generally, you're not going to want to do that because it's going to really ruin your efficiency. So Mace even has a shorter combo. They generate on hit 4 and 5 instead of 5 and 6 like a sword does. But the sword does attack faster, so that's also another consideration you might want to make. Granted, the Mace also has some physical penetration, but that's more nuance and or more details, and I'm sure that people can read and figure that stuff out. I can make a video on that if I need to, but I figured this is more of a overview as far as more advanced tips and tanking that I've noticed people messing up. So just seems like it might be helpful, yeah. So those are probably the two most significant things: vengeance usage, and then generating courage off of your weapon combos, letting that combo finish, letting it go all the way through, and then using an ability, slam, inciting strikes, whatever you've got up, or whatever abilities you're using. What else? Other than that, it's also very important to understand stacking cooldowns is very, very strong. So for a tank, if you use Indomitable Spirit and you tie that to Absorption Field, if you're fighting a boss or a mob with a lot of AoE damage, or AoE damage that is not directed at the tank and directed at your friends, Indomitable Spirit gives you 30% more max HP. Absorption Shield gives everyone a shield that in the range of it, shield equal to 20% of your max HP. So if you increase your max HP by 30% and then you get a shield of 20% of your max HP, that's a significantly larger shield that can help your healers out and help people stay alive. Same scenario with Intercept, right? Intercept is based off of 8 if you're targeting someone else, or 12% of your max HP. So if you use that synergized with Indomitable Spirit, that shield's significantly better. In addition to that, the Indomitable Spirit also ties into Vengeance. So Vengeance gives you a shield based on max HP. So if you have max Courage, you pop Indomitable Spirit, you use your 3 stacks of Vengeance. Even better, if you currently are at 3 stacks, you can get significantly larger shield than you would otherwise. I forgot to mention earlier, I talked about Vengeance. I did not mention the Relentless Vengeance, which increases the shielding by 50%. So that shield is even larger than what I was mentioning earlier. So very important to understand those mechanics, understand Vengeance, understand combo or courage generation for your combo finishers. You can also generate courage from shield dashing or shield slamming, shield slam and shield assault. Just another way to understand. It's like, okay, and there's different uses, right? So say you had to interrupt your combo. Say you got, okay, yeah, I've got 3 stacks of my Vengeance up. Okay, oh crap, I'm about to get absolutely slammed. Let me pop Intercept on myself. Let me fortify myself. Okay, oh no, I'm in range of potentially losing my stacks of Vengeance. What should I do? Well, you can shield slam, build that courage up, and then Vengeance again to maintain 3 stacks. And what that's going to do is that's just going to give you a larger window, right? Okay, I built that stacks up. I've got my defensive rolling now. I can go back to doing my combos. I can build up that courage again by hitting those finishers. Very important to know, very important to understand, very important to practice, in order to adapt to these situations where your DPS, oh, they're too close to the enemy. They get scared. They back up. They run into 3 guys, and it's like, oh god, okay. Let me get intimidating aura. Let me grab them, and then reorganize yourself, collect your thoughts. Wonder why you're queued up with these people, or why you're pugging with these people. So it's I don't know. Maybe that's too much introspection. Now, another layer of this is that using versus saving courage. So courage gives you up to 10% physical damage mitigation. My general rule is probably 4 physical damage dealers, maybe 3 physical damage dealers. You might want to save your courage. You're probably getting more use out of it than you are, say, using it on Vengeance for the shielding. So, because if you're getting 10% physical damage mitigation, But here's the thing: if you get 2 physical damage dealers or 1 physical damage dealer and a magic dealer, it's like you're not getting as much use out of that damage mitigation, right? Because lots of people don't realize it's physical mitigation only. That means that if you get a mage or you get some mobs cast magic and they attack, right? So it's like you got to weigh your options there and see how it feels. But that was just sort of a quick snippet. Just wanted to make this video just because I've seen people struggling. I want more tanks in Ashes of Creation. It seems like there's been a shortage. So hopefully this is helpful. If it is, great. Let me know if you want videos on anything else. I can make more basic ones, I guess. I just figured that some of the concepts like threat generation, um, cooldown usage, PvP application of skills is sort of it's something you can figure out just by testing. So go out and test it. See what you like, see what works for you. But those were some basic, like, all around things that are applicable to all tanks. All tanks should be have this knowledge. All tanks should understand this because it's going to make tanking significantly easier. I can also make a video about weapons, I guess. There's a little bit of difference between weapons, two-handed, one-handed, using a shield, all that sort of stuff, active mitigation. But if it's warranted, I'll make some. Or if I'm bored, if I got some extra time, I'll throw something together. But yeah, hopefully you found this video helpful. If you found these tips helpful, if you want more details or anything like that, let me know. Thanks for watching or listening. Bye-bye.